Hello Sagittarius, I'm Ulrich. I'm a normal card reader, but this time we will use a financial deck for your card reading. The deck contains 44 cards and the laying is done with 3 cards, which you see here in front of me. You can also see 4 objects here in front of me on the table, meaning we will do 4 card readings for the sign of Sagittarius for September, and this video here is, of course, for Sagittarius. Now, from the 4 objects that you see here, you choose or you pick one that you think relates most to your personality, or you choose one you think you feel most comfortable with. This object of your choice, it should or it will relate the best to your current financial situation. Of course, you can watch all 4 videos related to the Sagittarius sign, and after you've watched all 4 videos, you can then decide which object or symbol is fitting you the best. The matches here represent the fire element, the stone represents the water element, the aerosol sprayer represents the air element, and the shell represents the water element. So Sagittarius, here we go for your card reading for the month of September. Hello Sagittarius, and welcome to the shell or the water group. Before we start here, I want to mention that starting 27 September, Mercury is going retrograde, meaning this is not a good time for signing agreements, documents, contracts, anything that is a contract financially. Also, it's better to avoid this period for signing new agreements or contracts. This time, at this period from 27 up to 18 October, things are mostly there is confusion. Sometimes if we sign a document later on, we want to get out of the contract, we want to get out of the agreement. Sometimes that is no longer possible. You will also see at that time, sometimes there are delays in traffic. The news that we see on the media is sometimes compromised. This is all happening because our mind is working a little bit slower. Also, during this time, it's not advisable to buy new equipment for the house, like laundry machine, cell phones, anything that is electronic or anything that you need to buy that is contractually bounded on warranties. It's best not to do so. If you, for some reason, are obligated to sign a contract or an agreement, check, double check, triple check the contents of the contract, because mostly afterwards there will be problems. So I advise you not to do so and not to buy equipment during that period. So now Sagittarius, we start with your financial card reading in itself. So the first card we see here, this is about in life, we have good and bad debts. So what is a good and a bad debt? Well, a good debt is, for instance, like a loan on our house, meaning this is considered a positive loan because the investment that you made in your house, it will increase your assets over time, and also the property in itself, it values up during the time. Not a bad loan, on the other side, this has no economic value. It's a debt that is not contributing to financial stability. So the best example here that can be given is, like, for instance, a credit card and the interests on that credit card. Some credit cards are known to have enormous interests if we don't pay it back by the end of the month. It's best here in this case, if you have credit cards, that you compare the interests on these credit cards, because some of them are really high and they are no longer in the norm, as to say. The only the only thing that is good on here is the company that smiles because you have the debts on the credit card. They are happy to have you as a customer, and possibly also if there are high tolerances on that card, if they're easy to always give you money, it's possible that these cards have very high interest. That's also like a clue for this kind of companies. Now, also here, we need to see that if we have credit cards of that kind, we need to try to get rid of them. And we need to keep our positive debts with us, and our negative debts, we need to get rid of them. The second card here is the card of severe financial conditions. It's actually also in some cases, it could be mean a bankruptcy, but we are going out here. This is a financial severe condition that you're in. Maybe you have made a lot of debts in your credit cards. I assume this is the case. In other cases, this could mean that people who have businesses, due some economical circumstances, they come in a very difficult situation. So there are several possibilities here, but I will give some examples here. It's possible here during this period you have accumulated several debts, and maybe sometimes in the night you cannot sleep anymore because your balance is in the deficit. So if your situation is really severe, as a person, not as a business, maybe you should consider for advice from a specialist how to get rid of your debts. Now, before you start doing so and engaging with other people, especially before you sign agreements, inform yourself and consult more than a professional. Evaluate if you get the choices, evaluate all choices offered to you, their advantages, their disadvantages, and also make sure that you understand the impact of these things, the impact of the whole process, because this will impact your personal lifestyle. It will impact the way you spend money. So be aware that this decision has severe consequences if you have certain debts accumulated. It will change your consuming habits. Probably you cannot buy anymore what you want, especially if you are in debts with credit cards and you want to balance these out. In other conditions, this could mean that you are, if you have a business, that you are actually in a bankruptcy, and then the things I mentioned before, maybe you need to apply a specialist, a person who can help you for balancing out your debts and to see where you really are. But this is then if you are an independent person and you would be in a severe condition. So if this card is here for you today or for this group, it's a reflection of your situation. So you need to consider this very well, what you are going to do about it. The last card we have here is the card of resilience. What does this card mean? Well, if we come in a severe financial situation, as we think here this is the case, we need to accept where we are and the circumstances we are in ourselves. Probably this is a period of insecurity for you, and maybe there's some difficulties, and sometimes the difficulties come literally knocking on our door. This card tells you or asks you to be resilient in even severe conditions. This is not the time, this card tells us, for remaining passive and to undergo your fate. You need to reflect over your situations, weighing the pros and cons of your actions. This is actually a life lesson you learned here, and you need to try to make the best of it, even if the situation is very severe. In some cases, I just give an example, many people who had severe amount of money came in poverty due to small amounts of money that they spent, and they thought these amounts did not accumulate up. So sometimes that is one of the reasons that you can come in this kind of situation. Sometimes we can get into this situation by lenient credit cards, and these amounts mountain up. So this could be the possible here also. Anyway, the lesson to be learned here is that you learn here from your harmful behavior. If this is the case, you need to become aware of your personal flaws and weaknesses and turn these into advantages for another future. So here also this card tells you not to focus on your bad luck, but see it as an obstacle that you must overcome and a lesson that need to be learned to bounce back. This is what these cards tell us. By applying this resilience, when this financial storm is calmed, you will recognize the importance and it will help you further on in life. So Sagittarius, for the month of September, for the water group, this is all. I hope you enjoyed this card reading. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for doing so. If this card reading don't fit you at all, please check the other 3 card readings I'm sure one of the four will fit you. Anyway, thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye-bye for now. Hello, Sagittarius, and welcome to the Air Group for this month of September 2021. That is for the financial card reading. Before we start, I want to mention that starting 27th of September, Mercury is running retrograde, meaning it's not a good idea to sign contracts, agreements, especially financial agreements, financial contracts. It's best not to engage with these things during the period between 27th of September and 18th October. Sometimes we change our mind, we want to get out of the contract, we cannot anymore, there's something wrong with the contract, we don't like the contract, we want to break the contract and it's not possible, so we have some fines to pay. So during this period, it's wise not to sign contracts. Also, sometimes it's not advisable, if you can avoid it, to buy new equipment like televisions, microwaves or whatever, because these are also connected to warranty contracts. So it's not a good idea to buy these things if you can avoid it this year for the period of 3 weeks time. You will also notice that if you go out, sometimes you're in traffic jam, you are late, people who are coming to you are late, your mail is late, you receive messages late, there are delays. So these are all things that are connected to Mercury retrograde. It's a collective thing because all our minds, all of us, is working a little bit slower during this period of time. So, but coming back to the basic, the main important is that you try to avoid to sign contracts. If for some reason you are obligated to do so, please double, triple check the contents of the contract. Make sure that there's nothing in there that you don't like, so you don't need to change your mind afterwards. So here we go for your financial card reading, Sagittarius. This is for the Air Group. What are we seeing here? So the first card here that we see here is the card of remuneration. So this means that probably you are waiting on an increase of salary. You are wondering probably about your current situation and the possibilities of progress within the company or your business. But sometimes here, this makes us think or makes us doubt. This card makes us think or doubt, but would this be actually the greatest good or the best solution? This card tells you maybe this is not the best solution. It tells you not to be so sure, because sometimes, regardless what our source of income is or what we earn or our annual salary or monthly salary, what really improves, tells this card us our financial condition, is our abilities to adjust our spendings according to our source of income. So sometimes an increase in salary will not have the desired positive effect that we expect from it, because mostly proportionally we increase our expenses also with this salary advancement. This is often the case, unfortunately. On the other hand, you yourself have full authority on the control over your expenses, so it's imperative to learn to limit yourself if there is a need to do so. Invest your efforts, this card says, in a better management of your daily expenses in relation to your earnings. You can then focus on increasing your income, and by doing so, you will have a much better chance of improving your overall situation. The next card here that we see is about credit cards. What does this card mean? Well, this card asks you, how would you rate your own use of your credit cards? Have you ever thought about this? This card tells you, is your own use of credit cards good or bad? In the sense, are you overusing them, or are you balancing? This card says, like, at the end of the month, we need to balance out ourselves. So we need to balance. If we don't do, there are some interests, of course, on the card that we need to balance out. Here also, this card says that you need to use all the privileges that your cards offer you. Maybe you need to check your privileges on the card that you especially have. Maybe there are some things that you need to adjust to. Some cards demand a 30 days payment back. If you not pay back within this term, probably the interests are high, as is the case with most credit card companies, and this brings very high interest rates. So it's also a little bit here. This card says unrealistic to think that if we pay a certain purchase, that it's paid if at the end of the month we are still in a negative balance. This is not advantage anymore for us, because we start to increase there with interests, and it's not a good situation that we are coming here. It's actually getting worse, and the value of the thing that we bought actually also goes down because we pay the interest. So actually we pay more. Also, this card tells, check if you don't have overdue accounts. Check if that company don't overcharge you. If you can, ask for reductions in your rate, so you don't get deeper in debts. If you ever, however, are a type that every month everything is correct, paid on time, see that you have advantages, all the excellent privileges that these cards offer you. Double check this also. Here, this card in general tells us to think wisely how we use our credit cards, and to use them only if necessary, and also use them at the right moment, at the right time, and don't overuse them. Here then, the last card here is, it says, this is about charity. It's things that we give or that we receive, but mostly this card is connecting to charity or things that we give. Maybe this card tells us that we spend probably a lot on people that we love. Maybe you take pleasure in spoiling your loved ones, but this card asks you to think about it. Maybe you use your credit cards for it because the credit card is next to it. So this card asks you, was it really necessary again to use your credit card for spoiling your loved ones? Will your nephews, your sister, your children, your wife love you less if you don't pamper them so much? This is what this card tells you. You see that the eggs are in the basket. This card asks you to keep your eggs in the basket, to take care of yourself. Why? Because these purchases that you do for other people, even though it's a charity, it's a gift, it has an impact on your budget. Maybe you're very good-hearted, but you need to balance this charity or this good-heartedness. This card tells you. If generosity leads to certain problems, it contributes to your financial distress. So it's no longer charity because it brings you stress. So before you give to others, secure yourself and keep your eggs, as I said, in your own basket. This card actually, it urges you to build up a safety cushion. So stimulate your own future rather than give to others, even though it's well meant and it's good meant and it's from the heart. But this card tells you to take care of your future for yourself. You need to know the difference, if you give, between the essential and the unnecessary. So if you do so, you will be able to establish a wallet that will allow you to maintain a healthy generosity through time and through the years. So Sagittarius, for the air group, this is all for this month. I hope you enjoy this information and the news that you received from the cards. If you did, please subscribe to my channel. If this card reading don't fit you at all, please check the other 3 card readings that are connected here. Anyway, thank you for watching my channel. Thank you for watching this video, and see you maybe next time. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello, Sagittarius, and welcome to the Stone or the Earth group for the month of September 2021. Before we start, I want to mention that starting 27 of September up to 18 October, Mercury is going retrograde, meaning this is not a good time to sign financial contracts, agreements, loans, engage in new financial adventures, or anything that you need to put your name under or you need to sign. It's best you wait until this period is passed, because mostly some things pop up. Maybe you did not read the contract well. Maybe there's some things in the contract after you change your mind about, you cannot get out of the contract anymore. So this period is not a good time to sign a contract. Also, during this period, you will notice that there are delays where you go somewhere, somebody visits you, they are in delay or in traffic jams. The traffic is stuck in its hole. You will see there's a lot of delays. Also, if you need to receive post packages or mail or emails, these mails are sometimes too late or they don't show up at the right time. So you will all notice this during the period of Mercury retrograde. Also, it's not wise to buy new equipment, electronics, things that are connected to the housekeeping, like laundry machines, microwaves, cell phones, everything that has a warranty. It's not a good idea to engage with. If for some reason you should be obligated to sign any form of contract, please double, triple check the contents of the contract. It will spare you a lot of worries after, but my advice to you is not to do so. This is when Mercury is retrograde until 18 October. So Sagittarius, now we go here for your card reading, financial card reading for September. The first card here is the card of the credit cards. And this card asks you, how would you rate your own use of your credit cards? Would you tell them that you use them in a good way or in a bad way? I think you are a fairly good user of the credit cards, since you have the congratulations cards next to it. But then this card tells you or asks you, do you use all the advantages of your credit card in an optimal way? Did you double check what your advantages are if you use your credit card? Because some credit cards are if we use them, they give certain advantages, certain discounts. So this card tells you, since you use them so well in this context, to take care of all your advantages that are connected to it. Maybe there are air miles connected to it, or other discounts, or discounts in certain stores that you are not aware of. So this card tells you to double check all these things, and that you come in an even better financial situation that you are now. It also tells you, even though your credit card is fairly good, that you need to check if there's not a possibility with other credit cards, because I assume you have more than one, that it's not possible to use other credit cards that are cheaper on rates. So this card tells you this card wants us to improve financially, even if we use credit cards a lot, as most of us do these days. So this card tells you to think wisely about your credit cards, use all the positive things that are connected to it, and use them or manage them in a positive way. The next card is probably you come in, this is the congratulations card. You have probably progressed in the last months financially. So for the months to come, you're rather carefree, maybe for a longer time. So you are now the captain of your ship. You're sailing towards calmer waters, but as we know, the battle is not over, and the financial battle for all of us mostly is never over. So every day we need to sail the course for improving ourselves, and this is the suggestions that are made to you for making more financial advancements. You also, here we must recognize your efforts and the work that you have done to come where you are right now. So also this card asks you to compare your current situation with the situation of maybe 1 year ago. So probably then you were worse off. So this card asks you to smile. It's time to smile this. Take a break, give yourself a little rest, regain your breath, because probably you worked hard and the road that you traveled was not easy. But it's still a long road to go. Remember that if you would have small problems, that each small problem will bring you closer to the finish line. So savor today, celebrate your accomplishments, be happy where you are, whatever it may be. Give yourself the gift of a well-deserved break and applaud for yourself how far you have come. So this is a very positive lane. The last card here is about publicity. Maybe you are a type that is sensitive for publicity that we see in the media, on TV, in publicity that we receive in our mailbox or in our computer. So this card asks you to think about this well. We are exposed a lot to a lot of advertisements today, sometimes 10, 15 advertisements, sometimes more. The advertisement is everywhere. It's like a propaganda, and it has a certain effect on you. And this card asks you to keep your cool, to not to be fooled, and don't go into publicity that is not really profitable for you. So check out the things before you buy. You're now in a good financial situation, so keep it that way. Don't be influenced from publicity. Check out if the goods that you are about to buy have really proven their value. Don't go in something to buy that you are not sure of. Just see that the warranties are solid. Also, this card tells you this card actually want to protect you. So you need to take a critical look at your situation so you can improve yourself even more, and you see this whole publicity in a new light. So Sagittarius, for the stone group, this is a very good card reading. I hope you're happy with this card reading. If you are, please subscribe to my channel. If this reading don't fit you at all, please check out the other 3 readings that are also on my channel. If you like them, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for doing so, and see you maybe next time. Bye-bye for now. Thank you. Hello, Sagittarius, and welcome to the matches or the fire group for September 2021. Before we start, I want to mention that Mercury is going retrograde starting 27 September up to 18 October. So at this time, it's not a good idea to make new financial contract, go into loans, go into anything that we need to sign personal with our name, and that is connected to contracts. It's not a good idea to do during this period. Also, you will see that traffic is delayed. You're more in traffic jams. Your mail is later. Your mail is delayed. If you receive mail at home or packages, they are late. These are all things that are connected to Mercury retrograde, because our mind, our collective mind, the mind of everybody, is working a little bit slower at that period of time. So during this period, it's not a good idea also to buy new household equipment like laundry machines, even electronics, because these are then connected to warranties. And sometimes there's a problem with the warranty. We get the wrong device in the wrong box. Things like that happen all during Mercury in retrograde, or the device is not according to what we thought it would be. So during this period, it's not good to sign agreements or arrangements that we are intent to make. It's best that we wait until this period is over after 18 October. However, if you are obligated to sign for some reason, any kind of contract, whatever, if you move or whatever, and you're obligated to sign, you feel urged to sign, double, triple check the fine print, because it's possible after you find a better deal after the period and you cannot change your mind anymore because you signed the contract. So be aware of this. It's better not to sign contract during these periods. Now, here we go ahead with your financial card reading. The first card that we see here is the card of superstitious buying. What does this card tell us? Well, this card tells us, or it asks us, if you made lately or you bought things lately that were not really necessary. Probably you did. Probably you spend a little bit too much, because else this card would not be here. At least that is what is in the laying here. So this card asks you a few minutes of your time to assess your expenses for the previous weeks or the previous months. Outpull your bills, your credit cards, your debit cards, all the statements, put everything together, make some calculation, and what are the disbursements added to that you are already forgotten about, that you paid cash. This card asks you, could you have done without these superficial things? So calculate the sum of all these costs, and then the question that pops up is, would you be able to avoid these unnecessary expenses? And then the question that follows, or the reasoning that follows, is, if you would not have spent this, what could you have offered yourself with that same money? So, like the majority of the population, you buy a lot of frivolous purchases. Probably you are, it's possible that you are seduced to that sometimes. We all have sometimes that we are seduced, but this card tells you, by limiting those extras, you can accumulate attractive amounts of money for repayment of debts, maybe that you want to pay, maybe something that you want to pay back already for a long time, or maybe you it's wise here to invest in your future, maybe in your retirement. When you have drawn this card, this is an opportunity to think about the things what you have could done with the money and your habits of spending. If you think about this, of your spending behavior, you will take an important step forward for your financial security on the long run. The next card here is the card of the ancestors, our ancestors here, the people, the generations that come before, that came before us in general. This card asks you to compare your positions with other generations, the generations that they came before us. For instance, your grandparents probably had a large family, and your grandfather was the only one who had a salary, and he needed to provide for his family members there. And when the money was gone at the end of the month, there was nothing left. They could not use credit cards. They could not buy anything superficial. So this card asks you to compare your situation with those people now. This card wants you to compare other generations when you are now. Maybe sometimes you're unhappy about certain situations, or you feel you don't progress enough. We need to think that these people didn't have access to credit cards. When their salary was gone, there was nothing left. And also they needed to take care of themselves, so they made sure that their home loans were paid long off before retirement, because if something happened to them, they came in difficult situation. So this card asks you to compare yourself to others and previous generations, and realize even if you unexperienced sometimes unpleasant times, you're still in a very good position compared to people who have nothing at all, or who have few. If you compare yourself to people who are in worse situations, you cannot, also to previous situations, we cannot compare ourselves, because we have a lot of opportunities now. There are credit cards, there's a lot of things for sale, so there is no possible parallel. This card actually wants you to tell you that you are actually in a favorable position, and there is no comparable parallel with other generations or people who came before us. So this card asks you to reflect on your ancestors, on your grandparents, and think about the concessions they need to make, and if you are ready to evolve, reflect on this. Then the last card here, this card means that every gesture that we do, it counts. So maybe you want to improve yourself more, and this card asks you to observe your bank account, the way you spend. It's probably related to the first card. It asks you to be aware of the exchange of money that you spend. If you use a credit card, for instance, our brain does not calculate, and it doesn't compute it as actually spending. It sees it as just as a use of a card, but actually we spend money. So this card tells you to improve your finances, you need to realize that every bit of money counts, maybe for the future. Maybe this is a help for the future to come. For giving an extreme example, some people came in very difficult financial situation by spending money superficially or spending small amounts of money. So this card asks you not to do so and to improve yourself instead of to impoverish yourself. It asks you to balance out very well. Remember where you are, where you came from. Remember how much you progressed in life. This is what this card tells you. It asks you to stop unnecessary disbursements, which accumulate to large amounts, so you can improve yourself and grow substantially. It's through a series of small decisions or micro decisions that you will improve yourself more and even be able to improve yourself more. So this card asks you to control, to compare, and to stop superficially spending. So this is good advice from the cards for the fire group. I hope you are happy with this card reading, Sagittarius, for the fire group. If you are, please subscribe to my channel. If this reading don't fit you at all, please check the other 3 card readings. Thank you for doing so. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, and see you maybe next time. Bye bye for now, and thank you.